My name is Muhammad Yunus. I believe the distance between the possible and impossible is getting smaller and smaller. Very soon it will overlap with each other. Nothing will remain as impossible anymore.
I've been working on a project called Impossible for the last 2 years, predominantly for the last year and a half, which was an idea to build a social network specifically to try and encourage a gift economy. The emphasis in the first instance on time, and what we're suggesting is that users can say what they need, what they can do. We make the connections transparent and show the opportunities for people to give to one another. So it was amazing to meet Jimmy, because if you ever Wikipedia gift economy, you get Wikipedia. It's the biggest current gift economy.
So I think the best thing to do is to talk just for a moment about the concept of gift economy in a broader framework. Normally in society, when we're thinking about economics and politics and issues like this, we think mostly about either the getting things done in society through the use of force or through trade. But there's a whole third way, a whole sector that just doesn't get nearly as much attention, which is the gift economy. And there are many historical examples of the gift economy, but today the most relevant, and certainly the most relevant to me, would be in open source software and in intellectual works online. So I thought, well look, all these people are coming together and sharing, just giving their time to create something that they believe in for various reasons. And it made sense that it started with programmers, because if they wanted to work together and to share, they could create their own tools for sharing. Everything about Wikipedia could have been done 5 years earlier, except the tools weren't all there. I got very excited by Impossible and this concept of using an app, using a website, using existing tools that are out there, social networks, where we know there's lots of things people would like to do for their friends, for people they don't know, to meet new people, but they don't have an easy facilitation to do that. And that was Lily's concept, is to build that kind of a tool. And so that's how I got involved.
I'm very glad you did.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing on that point is when you theoretically or in experience look at gift economies, there's loads to show that when you give, you release chemicals that make you happy. You create subtle relationships between the parties involved. So that's the kind of social cohesion element that I think is really fundamental to wanting to do this idea. And it tends towards reciprocity, the idea of kind of a positive debt that needs to be repaid to the person who gave or to the collective. And I think one thing I remember we talked about was with Wikipedia, your experience of people who've given, like the kind of big contributors, expressing how much they enjoy that process. And it's a curious thing, I think, that we kind of don't take for granted the fact that actually you could really enjoy giving, and trying to not make it worthy or charitable, but actually realise that there's a reward in it. Yeah. And then, as I said in the beginning, as you can tell, the main kind of purpose of Impossible was the gift economy, and that's how it begins. And then it was really, for a very, very long time, trying to work out how I could run that in a monetary system and not create a kind of inherent paradox there. And it was really wonderful meeting Professor Yunus and learning a lot about his model. I was Satya, so I went out to Bangladesh and studied it and thought very deeply about it. There's, as I'm sure he'll tell you, there's a commitment with it that 100% of the profit made by the company goes back into the social mission or can fund other social businesses.
People are getting a little bit jittery about it when I say I'm building these businesses to solve problems. What about making money? I said, no, I'm not making money. So they'd get very nervous about it. How can you run a business if you're not making money? Then why are you making business? Why don't you just be a philanthropist or do something else? I said, no, I want to do it in a business. In a philanthropy, I can give away money and I'll solve part of the problem, but the money will never come back. I want to do things which will keep on working with its own juice. It's a kind of self-fueling engine. So I liked it better than anything else. So then I started giving it a new name to this class of businesses that I created and called it social business. Sometimes I call them also selfless business, because if you put this as a selfish business, this would be the selfless business, because you are not addressing you are addressing the others. So that's a selfless thing. And people have enormous selflessness inside of them. And when you mentioned about your thing, and we design social business, we start with a problem. As I said, it's a problem-solving company. So if you're creating a company, what is the problem? So what is the problem in your case? I was thinking, what is the problem she is trying to address? Then I said, well, there are several problems here. The major problem is isolation. People are isolated. People, the way we live our life, we became islands. We lose contact with each other. We only create a little island and we see each other from a distance, say hello, hi, and all that. And that creates problem because I become smaller than what I am. So if you can touch each other, we become bigger than what we are right now. I said that makes sense because all human beings have so many creative powers inside of them. But in our everyday life, we use only a small piece of it and we remain happy with it because that's all we need and we became happy. The rest of our ability remains unutilized, all of us. And by using unutilized capacity of each other, we became much bigger capacity than what we are. Probably that's what she's trying to do. That's what this economy she's talking about. And then we got the problem fixed. So this is the problem.
I thought I'd do one last question at the end to you both, because the play with the word impossible, you asked me earlier, you went, why do you call it impossible without a question mark, you know? And I was like, well, it kind of says possible.
No, that's okay now.
But the reason for that word is Ian is playing on the idea that it's a very utopian proposition, but I do believe in people and I believe that it might work. And both of you have achieved phenomenal things in a very utopian kind of aspiration.
For me, what I loved about that name Impossible is, so in Wikipedia, the original vision statement is, imagine a world in which every single person on the planet is given free access to the sum of all human knowledge. And even though that sounds like an impossible goal, it's just enormous. More people are willing to go for that kind of goal than if I had said, let's write 100 articles about every country in the world, which doesn't sound that exciting. And so if this were called, this is an idea that will probably work a little bit.com, it doesn't have any kind of emotional challenge, but to say, this is impossible, we know it's impossible, and you know what, we're going to do it anyway, that's cool. Like, that's what people like, is to say, let's show people a different way of thinking, a different way of living, and it's just more fun that way, so I think it's really cool.